On a hot, humid Friday in Central Florida, it is time for TC America, powered by Skid Barber, to take to the track for the first leg of a Sebring doubleheader. 4 races into the new season, and Braden Arthur has emerged as the early championship frontrunner with 3 wins through the first 4 races, but he'll have to come from 5th on the grid today, while his closest title rival, Andre Castro, is on pole for the 3rd time in 2026. Hello and welcome to Sebring International Raceway. Ryan Marine, Calvin Fish joining you in the broadcast booth, and it's Amanda Busick down on the pit lane. Drivers are in their cars, they're ready to go, but look at these conditions here, Calvin. Even in a 35-minute sprint race, these are not conditions to be trifled with.
No, this is why the drivers hit the gym on a regular basis in preparation for weekends just like this, and those temperatures just soaring here this morning, up around 90 degrees ambient, so it's only a 35-minute sprint, but we saw at COTA the drivers really working hard there. We had a lot of cloud cover on race day. Different story here. The sun is out and shining on the grid right now.
Well, let's look at the grid and the pole sitter, Andre Castro, who will start on the pole position. Standing down on the grid, though, is our own Amanda Busick. Hi, Amanda.
Hey guys, yeah, and happy Friday and happy race 1 of the weekend as the SRO America Tour makes its way to Sebring International Raceway. And you talk about the heat. That's been the conversation within this class as well, talking for TC America and how hot it gets inside of those machines. We do have 4 different manufacturers represented here today, 12 different race cars, but at the front, the 4 cars that you're going to see in row 1 and row 2 is Rika Autosport. There was a bit of a power change to the Toyotas coming in for the weekend. We're going to have to go back to row 3 in that 5th position for our points leader, Braden Arthur. But talking to him a little bit off camera about today's race, he said, I just have to deal with the hand that I've been dealt. I'm not worried about it with my points situation. What's the goal for you here today, Braden?
Go up as far as I can within reason. I think it's going to be tough, but just keep it clean and grab some points and just make the most out of it.
What's the biggest difference you feel in your race car?
Honestly, the team did a good job from COTA actually developing the car for handling-wise, and the biggest thing I've noticed is we can turn a little better. So I think that's our main thing for today, and we'll just go forwards from there.
Awesome. Well, good luck to Braden. I was also talking quickly to Dean Lambros ahead of this race of what Sebring is to him. And he said, I feel like I'm on a trampoline out here that's 150 degrees. So maybe that's the description of Sebring, guys.
Sounds pretty apropos, eh, Cal?
Yeah, plenty of bouncy houses out there. You can find them in every corner.
Well, we talk about this place, and you start with the bumps. Respect the bumps. That's what the tagline is anytime you come to Sebring. And I would say that it is a feature, not a bug, of this great racetrack.
Absolutely, and you need to embrace it. I mean, I think when you first come to Sebring, you can feel like I don't get on with this place, but the more you come, you love the tradition, you love the fact that the track does not change. You've still got basically a third of the circuit, still the old concrete runways, which feel like you're in a paint shaker as you hustle down into some of these corners. But you can see there's a lot of straightaway here, so certainly speed will be a factor here, and we saw that in qualifying, but some really serious corners. Turn 17, the final corner, and turn 1, as you look at the track map there, I believe are 2 of the most demanding corners in all of North America.
This is a place you've talked about in the past, your time racing here, that you found to be an immense challenge, but the challenge is also part of the allure of the place.
It is, yeah. Like I said, you can either grow to love it, or you're going to come every time you revisit the racetrack and say, I don't get along with it. So you've got to learn to embrace the bumps. You've got to work with your engineer. You've got to get the car as comfortable as you can possibly get it. And it's not an easy task. I mean, obviously there's limitations with these basically production-based race cars that you can do in touring car, but, you know, work with the team, just try and find your way through. I always found, like in turn 17, I'm not sure I ever hit the bumps the same way 2 laps in a row. So you're always feeling, you're always on edge. Just what makes it so mentally stressful. You're never quite sure you're in the right spot to commit to power coming off some of these corners.
You alluded to the history of the place. Opened back in 1950. The first race held here was the Sam Collier 6-hour memorial race on New Year's Eve of 1950. And this is also the site of the first ever U.S. Grand Prix back in 1959. The site itself was the Hendricks Army Airfield back in 1941 through 1946. B-17 pilots were trained, landing those planes on some of the same asphalt or concrete, really, that we'll be racing over here today, and that's where the bumps come from. You'll notice the old sections of the track certainly stands out, but there has been a little bit of repaving in certain sections over the years. One thing I noticed out my window in Turn 7, the brake zone down to Turn 7 where we're staying here this weekend, that looks a little bit different in recent years. So, you know, you still have to adapt as the circuit adapts to the times.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, certainly that part of the racetrack, kind of the short circuit, as we call it here at Sebring, is utilized for IndyCar testing a lot. So obviously those cars run very low to the ground. So they obviously need to make sure that the track is somewhat compatible for various types of machinery. But essentially it remains the same. You come down here and you just got to get ready. That's kind of a blind entry here through Turn 1. So you see the cars now going out on their formation lap.
Well, Amanda mentioned the fact that it's a Ricca Autosport sweep of not just the front row, but the front 2 rows. Those Hyundais showing a bit more performance maybe across the board than we've seen at any single event so far this season.
Yeah, I think it's all about comparison, right? So I think what they've done, they've taken away a little bit of the power on the Toyotas that did seem to be the dominant force towards the end of last year, certainly, and certainly out the box this year with Braden Arthur having scored 3 victories out of the 4 rounds so far this year. So it's all about equalizing the field. As Amanda mentioned, we've got 4 different manufacturers, including this BMW in the field here. So it's getting everyone on, it's kind of the same playing field. I think we are so close to that right now.
That's what it's all about, trying to equalize the different class or the different types of cars. You've got front-wheel drive cars, rear-wheel drive cars, four-wheel drive cars in the mix here as well at TC America. As we look at the starting grid, it's Andre Castro for Ricca Autosport on pole. How about the young man Justin Gravitt? Great qualifying effort. He'll start second here today. Eric Coons will line up in third, the Canadian, next to the Puerto Rican CJ Sepulveda. Welcome back to CJ. Then Braden Arthur, the championship leader, back in 5th. Dean Lambrose, who was one of the stars of the show, certainly at Circuit of the Americas the last time out, will start in 6th in one of the Skip Barber Racing Acuras. 4th row belongs to Shelby Mills. That's another Hyundai, next to Jesse Dorkin in another of the JMF Toyota Corollas. Logan Anderson starts out in the 9th spot next to Mike Lamar. A couple of Acuras starting 9th and 10th. And out back, PJ Gronke, the savvy vet, next to Robert Bellevue, just making his 5th start in the series, in the only example of that BMW on the grid right now, with the hope of more to come down the line. That's the starting grid. Who stands out to you with their qualifying performance here, Cal?
Well, I think certainly Andre Castro, who grabbed the pole by about 3/10. That's really big for him because he recognizes he's already got like a 20-point deficit in the championship to Braden Arthur. I know he's still trying to get the funds together to complete the full season, but you can't let him get too far away. But I think the real key is if you have an advantage, it's all about sweeping the window, the weekend, excuse me. Do you know what I mean? If he's got an advantage here, bring it home. Try and get maximum points where you got that little edge possibly over the Toyotas, because you never know what's going to come down the road when we visit Road Atlanta here sometime in June.
Justin Gravitt stood out to me. Young man in his first full season in the championship, did 2 races in Road America last year, finished second in both of them, but has yet to reach those heights yet through the first 4 races of 2026. Best finish at 3rd in the season opener, but really well positioned right next to his teammate on the front row.
Yeah, you got to feel that those drivers had a little bit of conversation about how they want to get up to the green flag here as the team boss, Jeff Ricker, who swept. It was a triple header here last year, and he won all 3 races for his team on his way to a championship, of course, but he's got his eye on his customers and his team right now to see which one of those top 4 can hopefully head and lead through turn 1 on this opening lap.
His fleet continues to grow, so involved in touring car racing at this level, and a lot to be proud of right now with the front 4 position lockout as we get ready to drop the green flag on the race here today. And to do the honors, it's Don Gauss, guest of Cielo Vision, up in the starter's stand. He'll be waving the green flag to get this doubleheader weekend underway in just a few short moments. Here comes the field now through Sunset Bend, turn 17, with their eyes up and to the left, looking for that green flag. There it is, and on the break, it's a drag race across the start-finish line. Andre Castro to the inside, Gravitt to the outside, his teammate. Two more Rick Autosport teammates back in the second row, and immediately one of the Corollas pops out of line, challenging for position in the run down to the bumpy turn number 1.
Yeah, really close there, and looks like Braden Arthur's trying to get a run on one of those Hyundais on the brake zone down into turn 3, also known as Christensen Corner. He tucks it to the inside. They're going to go side by side, and he clears him. So the championship leader up to P4 early.
Wild ride back in the pack. That was Anderson, I believe, up and over the curb, bicycling momentarily, but able to keep his foot in it, keep that battle on further back in the order. Shelby Mills out ahead of this side-by-side battle. Hyundai part of that mix further in the pack. I think that might be PJ Gronke starting to make his way forward. PJ up a couple of spots here already on the opening lap. Right now, though, it's Lamara to the inside in the blue Acura as he does battle with CJ Sepulveda.
Settling in here, tires will be coming up to temperature really quick with these rigorous conditions that they've been dealt with for this first race of the weekend. Castro doing exactly what he needs to do there, just keeping a nice little gap, about 2 car lengths. That will give you the ability to hit your lines, not have to get too defensive on the approach to some of these brake zones.
Shelby Mills, big gainer at the start, up 3 spots to the 5th position. Really nice work by him to pick off a couple of cars right away, and he sits right behind the championship leader, Braden Arthur, who, as you pointed out, Cal, was quick to make a move, picked up a spot in his own right.
Yeah, it's going to be really curious to see with this new balance of performance, as Amanda alluded to, a little bit of the power being taken away from the Toyotas, to see how they fare. I think this next run here out of turn 16 is the ultimate test. It's like a dyno run here down the Ullman Straight.
Named for Alec Ullman, who identified this old airfield as a potential site of world-class motor racing, and that's exactly what it's proven to be. Cars fanning out here, and this could be exactly what you're talking about. Looking to make sure the performance isn't compromised, running closely behind another car with so much heat in the air. These are very much production-based race cars that have been modified to go racing. However, they are, as a class, pretty much across the board, susceptible to high temperatures.
Yeah, very much so. It's a great point you make there, Ryan, in terms of keeping the car, the nose in the clean air. So unlike where you typically try to get that drafting effect from the car in front of you, you're trying to find some clean air onto that front radiator grill and make sure those temperatures don't spike, so it'll immediately go into a default setting and take power away and richen up the motor.
Lap number 1 in the books, and it is the pole sitter, Andre Castro, by 1 second over Justin Gravitt. Gravitt, though, coming under heaps of pressure. Eric Coons starting to flex a little muscle as Gravitt drops the right sides in the dust, kicks up a big plume of dust for Coons to have to drive through, and looks like Eric might be losing a little bit of ground in the run down to the hairpin.
Yeah, he did lose a little bit of time there with that couple of corners that he went through, but he's coming off a podium run here last year, race number 2, so he knows how to find the podium here at Sebring. Had great history in the past, but those two duking it out there a little bit has allowed Castro to scamper off a little bit to the tune of almost a second and a half early.
Yeah, built another 0.3 of a second onto his advantage in Sector 1 alone. Best sector time, though, just turned in by CJ Sepulveda way back in the pack, fighting in the midst of this hornet's nest. 8th place, but he was the quickest through Sector 1 this time by.
Yeah, and it's really competitive. I mean, the top 10 cars essentially are just separated by a couple of tenths on each sector right now. Early in the race, of course, we'll see how it settles in and see if anyone can maintain the balance. That's going to be the key over this 35 minutes. Make sure you don't drive the front tires off the front-wheel drive cars, for example.
Braden Arthur, who got the jump there on the opening lap to get up to 4th place, coming under some pressure here from the hard charger Shelby Mills. Started 7th, not 8th, so up a couple of spots from where he lined up at the beginning of this race. And Dean Lambrose tucked in right behind, too, in the Skip Barber machine. Yeah,
coming off a great weekend at Circuit of the Americas. A couple of runner-up finishes there. He was really buoyant about his performance there, but you know he wants a little bit more. But right now he's duking it out for P6. Makes a move. Braden Arthur there lost a lot of ground. He lost 2 positions there in that one straightaway.
Now that's where some of the adjustments to the Corolla probably are going to be.
A bigger issue, he's slow.
Yeah, you might be right.
He's slow, he's hitting pit lane. He's got a technical issue on that Toyota. This is huge for the championship leader and for Andre Castro, second in points, who leads right now.
Yeah, the advantage coming in for the championship leader, Arthur, just 20 points. This could go completely the other direction here. Points are only paid down to 10th, so Arthur dropping out of the points as he comes in here. And Castro, if he can hang on, that's 25 points to his name. That could not only erase the lead, but have it switch hands for the first time all season.
Yeah, this is massive. Still a long way to go in this motor race, but we'll have to see if JMF can go to work and get Braden back out there. And but he needs help. He needs help from his crew to get the car firing back on all cylinders, so to speak, and also he's going to need the yellow to get back in the points-paying positions.
And if you're Jesse Dorkin, the teammate to Arthur, sitting back there in the 8th spot, and I wonder too, is this something systemic, something that could crop up in the team car, or if it's specific to Braden? But have to feel for the young man who's put together such a remarkable start to the year.
Yeah, and I tell you what, there's not a lot of energy there, or urgency, should I say, in terms of trying to get this sorted out, so it may be terminal.
There's a battle for position, late lunge up the inside. Lambros fighting here to take the 4th spot away from Mills. Lambros in the Acura, black, white, and red, still has the inside line, little bit of overlap with Mills, but is through and takes that position away. So put Lambros up to the 4th spot now.
Good smart driving by both of those guys, giving each other just that little bit of racing room. Lambros just gave Mills a little bit, and Mills was smart enough to wait to turn in and not just catch that rear bumper on the Acura there as they went through Tower Corner.
Well, Braden Arthur, the championship leader, is in the pits. The crew's pouring over the car. Amanda, what can you see?
Yeah, I think the craziest part about this story is I was just talking to Braden Arthur on the pre-grid, and he was saying how calm he was, knowing that he had that 20 points lead coming in here for race number 1 at Sebring. They keep trying to turn the motor over down here. I was talking to one of the team members with JMF. They said Braden just experienced the car just shut off.
Wow. See, the computer's plugged in. They'll try to pull the data off of that to help diagnose the issue, if at all possible. But boy, what frustration for Braden Arthur.
Yeah, and again, we talk about the extreme temperatures that we got here this weekend. That can be playing a part as well. But, you know, and it's bumpy. Yeah, any little technical issue, any little connector, suddenly you can find yourself without the power getting to the motor there. And for the Braden Arthur, this is a devastating blow to his championship. Doesn't look like he's going to score any points here today for Andre Castro. That is the news. Oh, is that Lambros on and off?
Somebody certainly was off track. You could tell that haven't had a ton of rain here in the last few days, as dusty as it is off the racing circuit.
I think that's maybe Anderson.
Okay.
He had a great run at the circuit, the Americans. Really impressive in race 2. They finished P4, as I recall, and had a super day.
Exactly right. 7th in race 1, but that 4th in race 2, and was very much in the mix. Every race, it seems like he's just that much more comfortable in this car. Here he is, just a little bit wide, make that quite a bit wide. All 4 wheels off, and then, oh wow, it nearly hooked around on him as he rejoined.
Yeah, he did a nice job there, just not sort of pinching it, but then even then the ground that he was on top of didn't give him a nice ride, and you saw the brake lights come on momentarily, as well as he just trying to arrest that speed and keep it together.
There's Jeff Rika, adapting to the new role as team boss and team boss alone. Last year, as you alluded to, he was behind the wheel in addition to running this team. Had a memorable weekend here at Sebring that helped put him in good stead to win the championship. Has to be strange, though, for him to be watching these races from a different perspective.
It really is when you make that transition, as I did out of the racing at the broadcast booth, and for Jeff to go from, you know, obviously running the team, but racing still, and then just watching. It is hard. It is really difficult for a few years, but you know, he's super professional. He loves his group that he's got together there, super team. They're getting bigger and bigger. They were the smallest team in the paddock, and now they're just growing gangbusters every year, now running 6 cars. So it's a super operation, and he recognizes that the business model he's developing there is certainly going to have a lot of success moving forward.
At the front of the field, just saw it on the screen, Justin Gravitt does have the fastest lap of the race. He's keeping pace with the leader, Andre Castro. Lead drew slightly this time around, but now we're watching as the fight for 3rd has actually changed hands. I'll make that this is actually 4th and 5th again, I'm sorry. Dean Lambrose has the spot, having just taken it away from Shelby Mills here recently, and is trying to hang on to that position. Mills, after being passed, it's not like he's dropped off the back of that Acura. In fact, it looks like maybe he's been able to hit his stride somewhat.
Yeah, this is a really strong run for Mills here. He's having a super run. Great little battle there for that P4 position with Lambrose. As we said, Gravett had the fast lap. Castro's taken it away from him, and that's significant because that would give him pole position for tomorrow's race. We talk about, you know, if you've got a strong race car, bring it home. Really have a dominant weekend, and Andre Castro right now is doing everything. But the lead sits just at 1.5 seconds. It's not he's pulling away. It's only a 1/10 or 2 per lap. There's the advantage when he has it.
Derek Coons is running laps within a couple of tenths as well of that top 2. Just did the best first sector of his race so far.
Battles
Checking
everywhere.
in here, yeah, exactly. Mike Labara with his hands full with CJ Sepulveda. CJ on the charge.
This is turn 10, heavy brake zone. Probably rolling speed through here about 60 miles an hour. A lot of very similar minimum speed corners. Turn 10, turn 13, turn 5, all very similar speeds. And that really comes down to, as a manufacturer, is your gear ratio in the sweet spot. You know, I mean, you can have a real good punch coming off the corners if the torque setting is kind of matches one of the gear ratios. You can't change the individual gear ratios like you can in a true race car. So you're kind of stuck with it, and you just got to deal with it. And sometimes you're in what we call in-between gears. Say second is too low, third is too high for some of these corners.
It's a tough compromise when you find yourself in that spot, but part of racing in one of these production-based TC cars. Labara went a little bit wide, or at least didn't quite carry the momentum through the exit there of turn 16. That could leave him vulnerable, as Sepulveda got a pretty good run, tucks out a line. Challenging to the inside, but look at the ponies of that Acura, able to pull away down the straight. Yeah,
a little bit, not a lot, but maybe half a car length, but that was enough to maintain that position.
Championship leader still in the pit lane. Amanda, what can you tell us?
Yeah, unfortunately, the hood's still up on this Corolla as well. I did see John Farrow walk down from the top of the pit box to see everything that was going on. Toyota has made their way over here. They do have the laptop off, checking out different data points. I saw them bring over a line that had fuel in it. They were testing out the fuel pump. Throwing the kitchen sink at it, it seems, but still a non-started Corolla sitting on pit lane.
Yeah, and I think they really need to turn it into a mini test session, do whatever you can with the, well, we've got 22 minutes left. If there's anything they got back at the transporter, try and get it out to pit lane and see if they can figure out what's going on with this race car. He doesn't need to be sleeping on this overnight, not knowing if the engine's going to fire up for tomorrow's race.
That's a great point. Lamara under pressure once again, battled for 6th and 7th, and this time Lamara can't hold back CJ Sepulveda. CJ is through, powering around the outside and clear of the Acura by the time they reach the apex of the hairpin.
Anderson has regrouped here a little bit after his momentary off in turn 1 a couple of laps ago, and he's going to close in on this battle here, I think, pretty quickly. This is for P6, 7, and 8 you're looking at.
And that's true right after that moment we saw from Anderson. He was able to pass Jesse Dorkin the next lap and has pulled away since then, catching up with this fight. A couple of Acuras about to square off. That is, if CJ Sepulveda can clear off himself. He's been able to make the pass, but hasn't left Lamara behind just yet.
Yeah, and looking at fast laps, it looked like Logan Anderson does have a little bit more pace than the two drivers that he's chasing down right now, so this could intensify here over the next few minutes.
Logan with that career best of 4th in the second race at Coda, trying to replicate some of that magic here at Sebring.
A really good run there.
Product of the Skip Barber system, coming through their school into the race series and now into TC America, and he's right there in the slipstream, looking like perhaps he's close enough to at least entertain thoughts of making a move into Sunset.
Yeah, now he comes out of the draft. They're going to get to the inside. Does he send it? Kind of funnels in there with that concrete wall. Suddenly pinches you off there. But Lamara seems to be struggling. We saw that on the previous lap, remember, Ryan, where Sepulveda got a run on him through 16. So I think Mike's just got to clean that up a little bit, just try and flow a little bit more speed through turn 16. It's such a critical corner on that long back straightaway.
Mike comes in with the best finish this season of 5th. That was race 1 at Circuit of the Americas, 6th in points. Really found a home with the Precision Racing LA team that's running that entry. Back to this, 4th and 5th. Shelby Mills, Dean Lambrose locked together as if actually physically attached. That gap has been stagnant right at this margin that we're looking at right here pretty much ever since Lambrose got around Mills.
Looks like actually coming there out of turn 5, maybe Mills did lose a little bit of ground. I'm not sure if Dean just dropped a little bit of dirt on the racetrack as he dropped wheels there, and that caused him to have a bit of a moment from behind.
Lamara's getting in his rhythm here. He just did his best first sector on this lap. Just over 15 minutes gone in this 35-minute sprint. Not sure it feels like a sprint in this high heat. Temperatures approaching 90 degrees here at Sebring with extreme humidity in the air as well.
And they're just getting towards the halfway point in this 35-minute race, so this will be where the tires are going to start to feel a little bit off in terms of performance. You've got to manage it through this phase.
Logan Anderson, it looked like he was closing in a lap or so ago. And not quite on the pace of these two that he's trying to track down.
Sepulveda is the one who's that last lap. He was 1.2 seconds quicker than Lamara, so he's really found a bit of pace here, and now he's got clean air on the front end of that Hyundai.
Here comes that run out of turn 16 once again. Lamara trying to hold the spot. Anderson, though, with a head full of steam, sweeping to the inside, now the extreme inside down the Ullman Straight. This is that 3rd and final sector you see on the map. Looks like this time Anderson's run is good enough to slot in ahead of Mike Lamara, so that's a change of 7th and 8th positions with 18 minutes, 15 seconds to go. Chance to head back down to the pits in Amanda.
Yeah, going to add a little bit on CJ Sepulveda, who's back with us here this weekend. This is technically his last race with us this season, unless something changes later on, but he is headed to the Nürburgring next week to compete. He'll head over on Tuesday. That's from him being the Hyundai Trophy Cup winner of last year. I talked to him about last year at Sebring. We had 3 races in TC America here, and he talked about his growth through each of those races, finding podium on that race 3, and said that really was a moment for him that told him how to dig deep into the progression of being a race car driver. But on this place specifically, he said, this reminds me of home. I can tolerate the heat, and all my friends and family are here.
Oh, that's great to hear. CJ from Puerto Rico, comes from a racing family. His father was a racing mechanic as well as a driver in Puerto Rico. And there's probably something to that, the fact that he's used to high temperatures like this, and it's not something he's just experiencing for a few days. This is his norm in the summer months back at home.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we see that battle continuing down into turn 10. Anderson to the inside gives Lamara plenty of room there, so good respect. Lamara hops over the curb there, but Anderson's going to have the inside critically for this next corner. This is turn 13. This is a really tricky approach there. A little bit off camber there when you're trying to get the car turned in. Really have to hit your marks and give the exit a little bit of respect as well.
2 great little prep shops as well. The Skip Barber team based out of VIR up in Alton, Virginia. Meanwhile, Precision Racing LA, as the name would imply, based out on the West Coast in Los Angeles.
Nathan Bonneau then now as a team manager, long-time real-time team manager alongside Petey Cunningham. Ryan Eversley may have been involved in getting that position.
I'm confident that is true. Yeah, Ryan will be racing for the team a little later on today in Pirelli GT4 America, where he's paired up with Carl Foreman in his first year racing at the GT4 level. And Ryan has been instrumental in helping to assemble that team for Mario Biondo, the team owner.
In way too deep, way outside of the line there, and you're now finding bumps you've never experienced before.
Describe the level of panic when you're out there and exploring pieces of real estate you've never been before.
Yeah, you're kind of in the whoops if you're related to Supercross. I
Sure.
mean, it's pretty crazy out there, and you just never know if you're going to hit an even bigger one. But you could see they just missed his braking point a little bit, got out wide, and then, as I say, you're finding new territory that you never explored before. So it will get your attention. There's enough room. As if you have a real kind of technical failure where that corner can really come up on you in a hurry, but just running a little bit wide, there is enough landscape to work with.
Welcome back to the affable Canadian, PJ Gronke, who is in just his second weekend with us here this year. Finds himself down in 10th place. Amanda, what have you heard about PJ?
Well, PJ told me ahead of this race that he was going to be racing himself. He said that I totally messed it up on this setup, but hopefully we can change things ahead of race number 2 tomorrow. He said, I just need to go out there and set some semblance of a fastest lap to have better qualifying position for tomorrow. But he said, I'm going to be hanging on for dear life out there. But we talk about PJ and what he's meant to this series. This could be the second to last race weekend we see him. I know I have him through Road Atlanta, but he said when he saw Road Atlanta pop up on the schedule, he's like, I have to do that race before I hang up the helmet.
Great champion in the series over the years, won the TCB title back in 2017, won the TCA title in 2024. Subsequently, all of the classes have been merged into one, but back in the day, there were a couple different classes running simultaneously, and he had a knack for winning in the final year of a rule set. That was the last year for TCB, and he won the championship, and last year as well for the TCA class back in 2024 when he won that title. Just one of the great personalities in the paddock, and showcasing that you can find a way to make your racing dream come true.
His passion is infectious. It's great to watch his career develop, and every time he shows up, he gives it 1,000,000%. And win, lose, or draw, he's always got a big smile on his face. He absolutely loves being here and representing all of the partners in a tremendous way.
Back to the front of the field, where Andre Castro's lead has grown, but only to about 2.5 seconds over the Texan, Justin Gravitt. Eric Coons having his best run of the season, I think it's safe to say, in the 3rd place, looking for his first podium of 2026. To look at fastest race laps on our Race Vision powered by AWS, and it's Castro, but only by a fraction over Gravitt. It's 5/100ths of a second. That would separate starting first or starting second tomorrow.
Yeah, and if he's keeping his powder dry a little bit, I mean, he's got a nice 2.5-second lead, but he wants a little bit of the race car left in case he has to respond to Gravitt or someone else deeper in the pack, firing off a fast lap. I think typically as the cars get a little bit lighter, burn off the fuel, there's potential to lay down a faster lap. I think these temperatures we're seeing here may preclude that from happening, so he may be safe with that time that he's already set. Only 2 drivers dipping into the 2:21 range.
CJ Sepulveda has cleared off after getting around Shelby Mills, so now it's Mills trying to fend off a new challenger. That's CJ Sepulveda, who we were talking about just a few moments ago. Finishes a 5th, and 3rd in the triple header here last year, and he's 1 spot away from matching that race 1 and race 2 finish of 2025.
Yeah, really nice drive here. He's showing the pace early with the fastest laps that we were seeing come up on the board. Had to deal with a couple of cars that got through those and just got his head down now and has chased down Mills. This should be a great little battle. Plenty of time left on the board to play with for CJ.
I think he'd have a second row start based on fastest lap time of the race so far in race 1. Looking ahead to race 2 tomorrow. CJ tucked right up under the rear wing of Shelby Mills here in positions 5 and 6. Oh, this is terrible news, Amanda. Looks like Braden Arthur will take no further part. Just 2 laps completed here today for the championship leader.
Yeah, I hate to say I'm walking next to this Corolla as it's getting pushed back to the garage. I'm going to see if I can get some words from Braden if he'll talk, but I know that this is will be huge when it comes to the championship. We talked about how calm you were ahead of this race. What's the emotion now, Braden?
Still calm. If we're not out tomorrow, which I hope we are, we'll be back at Road Atlanta, so we'll be fast. It's okay.
Well, hopefully that is the mentality of what a championship needs to be. And talking to the team, I said, is there any concern for tomorrow? Might this be an issue tomorrow? And they said, no, we get so much support from Toyota. We know they'll have this thing fixed and ready to go.
Remarkable composure for the young man given the circumstances. Meanwhile, his teammate has gone for a spin down in turn 17. Jesse Dorkin was 9th place, just lost that spot to PJ Gronke as he continues on. A look at what happened here, Cal. It happened early.
That is really bizarre. Really bizarre to be losing the car that early in the brake zone. Normally you're fighting it coming in, like we saw Lamar getting a little bit wide and maybe taking a spin. By it happening early, you're not risking getting into the tire barrier, but I wonder if something technical happened with the race car there in the brakes for him to have that spin.
It crossed my mind as well. Also saw some smoke out of this car, and that was running right ahead. So that makes you wonder if maybe there's some fluid coming down. Just a little bit of smoke, not a lot, but something to at least take notice of.
Yep, it would all make sense. As you say, there's smoke, but I'm not seeing any fluid dripping down. But yeah, if he suddenly got to the brake pedal and got on some fluid that was being dropped by the car in front of him, that could create a moment like we saw there.
Lamar now down in 8th place. Logan Anderson has gone through. Mike will keep on fighting, though. Hope all's well with that race car. We talked about the fact this could be a real challenge for the cars here. The track always is. The old adage is that 12 hours at Sebring is worth at least 24 elsewhere, but then you throw in the heat, and yeah, this is a real test for sure.
Yeah, it's the ultimate test bed, right? I mean, teams, manufacturers in years past have historically come to Sebring to see if they can break their race car, because if any track will do it, this is it. And it's just the consistency of the bumps and being rattled around. If there's any loose components, fittings, it will certainly work them loose in a heartbeat.
Here's Robert Bellevue in the only BMW in the field here at the moment. Best finish this season of 10th. He's one spot behind that right now. But with that 10th place came a point, so that's cool for him to be able to point to that in the championship standings. Robert here just having fun. That's really what this is all about. Spent many, many years racing vintage cars and stepping into a modern race car really for the first time. This is not good news, though, for Mike Labara. That smoke is starting to become more pronounced. The car's in the pit lane.
Yeah, sounds like it may be a little off song as well, so we'll wait and see if it's some kind of an engine issue. Smoke pouring from the hood.
Smoke or steam, I wonder. Either way, it's not good. Precision Racing LA team taking a look in there, but yeah, this is really disappointing for Lamara. He'll lose a couple more spots, and we'll get Dorkin up into 10th place. Back to this fight, 4th and 5th. Yeah, how about that?
Yeah, this is the drive of the race right here for Sepulveda. He just gradually one step at a time marching his way up the leaderboard. This is for P4 that he's trying to chase down there with Dean Lambrose.
Remember, that's where he started, but he got shuffled back at the start of the race and has been on a comeback drive ever since. So he's almost back to where the race began. 7 minutes to try and work his way around Lambrose to get back up to 4th and make it that Hyundai 1, 2, 3, 4 as it was on the starting grid.
Yeah, and he's got about 3 or 4 tenths in hand in terms of fast laps so far over Lambrose. So Lambrose is going to have his hands full because there's a lot of time left on the board still.
Lambrose goes to the inside, presumably in defense, trying to hang on to the spot. Sepulveda with a nice run down this Ullman straight. Not close enough to make a lunge this time. 6.5 minutes still on the clock. Castro leads.
Oh, wow, look how he can carve that corner. That Hyundai is absolutely hooked up. As you see Dean really having to fight the bumps through there, and just the Hyundai's suspension is just really absorbing those and giving him the grip that he's looking for.
Sepulveda closing in now at the line. Just a fraction of a tenth of a second between the two of them. Down to turn number 1. Again, Sepulveda able to keep that tighter inside line. The tighter radius, it looked, that puts him out right alongside the Acura.
Yeah, his grip level's at a whole different position to what Dean is dealing with. He's all over the road in that Acura, just trying to fight it like he's on a mechanical riding bull through some of these corners, whereas CJ just looks super comfy there sitting through the bumps.
This is compromising both of their pace. Looks like Shelby Mills is actually closing in a little bit. Logan Anderson not too far behind as well. Lambrose still comfortably in front down into the hairpin, but A big development on the pit lane as Amanda Busick is caught up with Mike Lamara, who's out of the race.
Yeah, and unfortunately out of his race car too. And when did you notice the problem and what happened, Mike?
Just going through 17, I saw like a puff of smoke that just kind of came through the hood there. And then I, was checking the temperatures and things, and it smelled a little bit like burning oil, which isn't something you really want to smell in a race car. But and then it just got progressively worse, so I didn't want to make it any worse than it was already getting.
Well, you told me you're race to race here this season. We'll see you at least for tomorrow, I hope. Yeah. But what about Road Atlanta?
Oh, I love Road Atlanta. It's one of my favorite tracks. So, yeah, hopefully we'll get this sorted out, and we'll be back tomorrow and go from there.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
I wonder whether when he had that happen the first time was when we saw him run really wide, whether he was just distracted by it or actually created a grip issue at the same time.
Well, and it also might explain that weird spin from Dorkin as well. That was down into turn 17. Not sure if that was that time he was referencing or not, but maybe there was a little something slippery down on the racing surface that caught Dorkin out. This is a good little scrap, though. What can Lambros do? Can the Northport New Yorker hang on? Again, he gets out wide. Again, Sepulveda with a great run to the inside, and that pulls him just about alongside. Drag race now to the start-finish line. If that was the checkered flag lap, Lambros would have had him by just a fraction, but he's got to do it another couple of times here, Cal.
Yeah, watch CJ, see if he can do the crossover. If he can just time it there and just get the grip to the inside, he gets it. And if he can get to his flank, he should have the inside for the brake zone and in the Christensen corner. Does he want to send it right here? Lambros is putting up quite the fight, trying to go side by side. Lambros clears him once again. Just great racecraft there by Dean.
Yeah, he's really good. Got hung out wide there, but for the second time in a row was able to carry enough momentum around the corner, then have the track come back his way in the next corner to hang on to the spot. And again, while these two squabble, here comes Shelby Mills. Don't count out that Canadian.
Yeah, Shelby's liking what he's seeing in front of him. Those two squabbling is allowing him to close back in. And look how tight this is. They almost park it there through turn 7.
Yeah, Mills is there now.
Yeah.
No question about it. This is a 3-car fight for positions 4, 5, and 6. And Logan Anderson would like a piece of it too. Oh,
smoke.
Quite a bit of it.
Big time. That developed rapidly there on Dean Lambros's car.
Well, that's another Acura, same as what Mike Lamara is campaigning. So let's keep a close eye on that. That is substantial. And to your point, it came on quickly.
It really did. The tires working overboard there through turn 13. Just keep an eye on this smoke from the number 7 machine here.
Seems to be intermittent, but it's back now, that's for sure. What does that do for CJ Sepulveda behind it? Do you wonder what the traction level is going to be when you're seeing that ahead of you?
Yeah, well, he'll probably know. He'll already got a feel for whether he's dropping fluid on the racetrack and affecting the grip behind him. But the other thing he needs to realize is time is running out. I think this will be white flag.
Correct. White flag this time by is the call I received a few moments ago. Lamara able to hang on to the spot.
Mills has dropped back.
One more lap.
Yeah, this is good news for CJ, Ryan, because Mills is not in the picture right now, so he can just focus forward here and trying to get this pass done without having a touch. That's where it's really hard, going side by side so close as they were through turn 17. The cars moving around on the bumps not to touch each other.
1 lap to go here at Sebring in the first race of the doubleheader. Sepulveda fighting with Lambros. This is for 4th and 5th. This time Sepulveda will try the outside. Look at the smoke pouring out of the back of the Acura, but Lambros doesn't look like he wants to give it up just yet. This time the roles are reversed. It's Sepulveda trying the outside lane. Lambros to the inside, forces Sepulveda up and over the curb and hangs onto the spot.
Awesome racing, and just like that, Shelby is immediately with them.
Yeah, that's what we've seen. They get fighting amongst themselves at this part of the track, and it leaves them vulnerable. What will Sepulveda do? He's running out of chances to make this pass here on the final lap of the race. Andre Castro continues to lead by 3 seconds, but Lambros fighting for all he's worth, trying to hang on to 4th place.
Wow, Lambros is just doing such a great job. This is true grit and determination to hang on to this position right now.
Dean leads this freight train. Couple of runner-up results the last time out at Circuit of the Americas. Third in points coming in. That will be a much better situation with the misfortune earlier in this race for Braden Arthur. Right now, he's not thinking about any of that, though. Needs to hang on for another half a lap. But can the car hang on for another half a lap?
Yeah, lots of questions to be answered here. In the backdrop, Logan Anderson is getting closer to this group as well. He's had a really spirited drive once again.
Sepulveda on the attack once more. Takes a peek to the outside. Lambros covers that off. Full throttle section through here into the brake zone. Now sitting right in the middle of the racetrack once again. Lambros trying to fend off the challenge. This, though, is where he's been vulnerable in the past. Compromised entry to turn 16. Sepulveda lays back to get the run out. Can he keep the foot down? Can he keep his momentum up?
Yeah, it's beautifully done there, just maintaining the momentum through the final corner.
From pole to the checkered flag for Andre Castro. A big day for Andre, getting the win and also the championship lead as it runs. Gravett comes home in second. Coons will follow them through in third place. But here's the fight we've been watching, captivated for the last few laps. Lambros with Sepulveda working his way to the outside. Shelby Mills in tow. Lambros, has he been able to do enough? I think he has. Lambros hangs on to fourth place. Sepulveda fifth, and Mills will take sixth, just ahead of Anderson.
That was awesome stuff. What a battle that was. Congratulations to all three of those drivers in the heat there. Putting on quite the show for us. Dean Lambros, boy, he wanted that badly, didn't he?
Yes, he did. I just hope that car's okay and can be turned around to race again tomorrow. He got everything he could out of it here today, no question about that. As the checker flag waves once again, it's PJ Gronke coming home in the 8th spot. Jesse Dorkin, his rival, comes home across the line in 9th. And we just wait for Robert Bellevue to complete the 10 cars that are still out on track. Lamara and Arthur did not see the checkered flag here today. And in the case of Arthur, that is massive for the championship. He scores no points and had a 20-point lead coming in. Meanwhile, Andre Castro with the win gets 25 points. So effectively, the championship lead has changed hands.
Yeah, quite the day in the championship, that is for sure. And also for JMF, can they get that car sorted for tomorrow to get it healthy so that Braden Arthur can at least score some points? And for Andre Castro, did everything perfectly, controlled the start, created a gap, took the pressure off, managed his tires, was still running really fast lap times in the low 22 range compared to his 220 1.867, which will stand for fast lap and give him pole for tomorrow. So just a beautiful run.
That will be his third fastest race lap of the year and fourth pole position. He has had the fastest race lap now in all 3 race ones to start the season, which means he has started from pole in race 2 all 3 times so far this year, but just his second victory. It comes at a big time, though, with dramas for the championship leader, Braden Arthur. And Andre Castro now, I believe, the only driver left that has been on the podium in every race, all 5 races so far this season. Worst finish of 3rd. Done that a couple of times, also a second, and now 2 wins through 5 races. That's the kind of consistency you stack together and you end up with a championship lead.
Yeah, you certainly do. So he's been super patient. I know he was frustrated at Coda, felt they didn't have a car that can compete for the win, but you just take and maximize the point scores every single day, and sometimes things go your way with a little bit of luck today with Braden's issues.
Another big day as well for the team in the team's championship and for Hyundai in the manufacturer's title chase. Here are the unofficial race results following the first of 2 races this weekend at Sebring. Andre Castro by just under 3 seconds. Justin Gravett, really strong run to finish second today. And Eric Coons as well, first podium of the season. Then it's Lambros by a hair ahead of CJ Sepulveda. What a fight they gave us for the final few laps. Shelby Mills in that conversation too. And Logan Anderson in 7th. And PJ Gronke will go back to the drawing board from a setup perspective, according to Amanda, for race number 2. Jesse Dorkin, Robert Bellevue, the top 10. Mike Lamara, and crucially, Braden Arthur down in 12th, no points. Only completed 2 laps here today, and they'll have to hope they can get whatever was the malady ahead of tomorrow's second race of the weekend.
Yeah, they're going to be digging deep tonight, that is for sure. They've got to get somehow him back on the grid and out for the race tomorrow and score some points. Otherwise, that championship lead will be massive for Castro if he follows up with another win tomorrow.
And again, he should have pole position based on having the fastest lap of race number 1 here on this Friday afternoon in Sebring. Castro, Gravett, Coons, and Lambros, the top 4. Doubleheader weekend got underway here at Sebring on a blisteringly hot grid on the pit lane at this famous track. It was a Hyundai 1, 2, 3, 4 at the start. CJ Sepulveda, though, from 4th on the grid, did not have a great start. Quickly on the move was the championship leader, Braden Arthur, but it was short-lived. Arthur quickly to the pit lane. He would finish 12th today. Meanwhile, further back in the pack, it was a great side-by-side fight with Logan Anderson fighting with Mike Lamara. Was for positions 7th and 8th at the time. Anderson came out on top in that duel. Then battles here from the recovering CJ Sepulveda with Dean Lambros at the front, though. Andre Castro relatively untroubled as he cruised to his second win of the season. Beautiful Florida sunshine overhead. Track vehicles on track preparing the course for the next session on what is inevitably a busy day of track activity on an SRO America weekend. Still another race to come. That's for Pirelli GT4 America later on today. And then a massive day tomorrow, capped off by a 3-hour race into, if not quite the twilight, then at least the evening hours here at Sebring for GT World Challenge America.
Yeah, it's going to be an immense day. Looking forward to it and to see that 3-hour race, as you say, almost into the darkness. But again, the conditions are going to be so extreme. Just the temperature build up through the afternoon just is massive. We're looking at 95, 96 degrees ambient to start the race tomorrow afternoon, and not cooling off by much by the checkered flag. It's going to be a big, big test for the teams, the drivers, and the cars we've seen already here in this short TC race. It can really hit the equipment hard.
In many ways, that's a great appetizer and primer for what's coming up across the board here this weekend. Well, we talked about the impact in the championship, and that's the way it looks. Castro now by 5 points over Braden Arthur. But how about Dean Lambros scoring good points again? Now 71 points. He finds himself 3rd, and it's really tight from 3rd to 5th, really. Just 16 points between that trio of Lambros, Gravett, and Coons. Mike Lamara's disappointing day sees him slip down to 6th. Logan Anderson in 7th position after race number 1 for TC America here at Sebring.